If this is your first DUI, in other words, if you have no prior DUIs that are less than 10 years old, okay, from the date of your arrest. In other words, they actually date the prior from the date of your conviction. So if you haven't been arrested or convicted of a DUI within 10 years of the date of your arrest, then you're a first offense DUI. What is license suspension for a first offense? The DMV and the court system are two separate systems. The DMV suspends your license for 4 months, but you are entitled to a 6-month restricted license. The court suspends your license for 6 months, but you're still entitled to the same 6-month restricted license. Now, what's a 6-month restricted license? That means you have a hard 30-day suspension where you can't drive at all. You're out of your car. Then after that, you can drive to and from work, you can drive while you're working, and you can drive to and from DUI school. Now, you cannot drive to and from school. You can't drive to pick up your kids from school. You can't drive to sheriff work. That's not work. By work, they mean gainful employment. What do you need for a restricted license? You need 2 things. First, you need to be enrolled in a DUI first offender program. Unless you have a high BAC over a .20, then you're probably looking at a 9-month program that you have to enroll in. And 2, you have to file with the DMV an SR-22. That's proof of insurance for 3 years. Once those 2 documents are on file, proof of enrollment in a DUI school, and your DUI school will send the proof of enrollment electronically to the DMV, and an SR-22, which your insurance agent should send electronically to the DMV as well. Once both of those documents are on file, then on the 31st day of your suspension, you go down to the DMV and you pay a reinstatement fee. Now, as of the date of this broadcast, it's $125 to reinstate your license. At that point, they will give you a license. They'll give you a hard license with your picture on it. And on the back of the license, it'll say restricted. That license will allow you to drive. Now, let's talk about the restrictions. To and from work, that's easy. Driving while you're working, that's almost a loophole. I had a client who was an employee of the DMV, and he was stopped by a cop on a Sunday morning driving. And the cop asked him what he was doing. He said, "I'm working." The cop says, "Who do you work for?" "I work for the DMV." Cop says, "You're not working. It's Sunday morning. It's 7 o'clock. And he said, "I'm going to the office. I have to pick up a file. My boss wants a report on her desk tomorrow morning. I'm working." He's working. And that allows him to drive to the office, get his files, get his paperwork, whatever it is. Now, let's talk about the restriction and the total suspension and the credits you get for each. If the DMV suspends your license and the court suspends your license later on, remember, there's both a court proceeding and a DMV proceeding. So let's say the DMV suspends your license on January 1. And then let's say that the court suspends your license on April 1. And the court suspends your license by basically convicting you of a DUI. The moment you're convicted of a DUI, your license is suspended, and it's suspended again. You get full credit for the 30-day hard suspension that you did, but you don't get credit for the restriction period. So let's say that by the time you're convicted in court, you've done your 30-day hard suspension and you've also done 60 days of restriction on your license. you're going to have to do that 60 days over again. And this is why the timing of a DMV hearing and a court plea is so important. I have seen people who were stuck with 10 months of restriction on their license simply because they timed everything incorrectly. So I think that's the main surprise that most people have, is that they're not getting credit for the restriction on their license. Okay, if you like this broadcast, click like, click subscribe, and if you have any questions, call us at the phone number that you'll see in the credits. And thanks for watching.